Focus on the ATL.
Hello and welcome back to Focus Atlanta. Again, I'm your host, Keisha Lancelin. Thanks for continuing to watch. In this segment, I have author Alexander Devereux. We're going to talk a little bit about Gar Fish and Long Gravy. Alexander, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Only a Southern man could name a book, Gar Fish and Long Gravy. What is Gar Fish and Long Gravy?
Garfish is a prehistoric fish that has existed in the Mississippi River for ages and ages. And this fish has the body of a fish but the snout of an alligator. So they would beat it with a bat, and my grandmother would take it, chop it up into steaks, and make it into a meal. And she served it over a bed of rice. And it was always the meal that she gave to me when she wanted to have a conversation about something.
Uh-oh. Well, did that mean that you were in trouble if you got the Gar Fish and Long Gravy? Or?
No, it meant that she wanted to sit down and instill some wisdom to me. It's like she saw something that was going on in my life. She's like, let me correct this now before it leads down a certain path.
Okay, so Gar Fish was a good thing. You were getting some wisdom then.
Right.
I love it. Tell me why you wrote the book.
I wrote the book. I met a 35-year-old great-grandmother, a 23-year-old grandmother, and a 12-year-old mother. And the grandmother had went out to a club, and she was, the great-grandmother was sitting there. She was smoking a Black and Mild and drinking a Hypnotic, and she looks across the club, and there her daughter is smoking a Black and Mild, drinking Hypnotic. So she was so depressed because she said, I don't know how to break this cycle that's happening in my family. And I simply said, well, understanding is the best thing in the world. And she was like, well, what does that mean? So I originally wrote the book for her, but as I was writing the book, I realized it's for the person that's in prison that's trying to overcome something. It's for the spouse that's beating, that wants to heal and wants to escape. So the wisdom of my grandmother was put into this book along with a lot of spiritual philosophy to interpret what she was talking about. I used very real language, very everyday language, so that anybody can understand it.
Good.
And the situations that the people in the book are going through are situations that people go through every day.
Wow. Now the book's been out almost 6 months or whatever.
6 months.
Tell me what are people saying? Are they getting the message? You know what I mean? Sometimes people read stuff for entertainment and they don't get the message. You know
People are really getting the message, and there's really love. His lives are being transformed. I had one, and I'll say, hey, Pam, she's in Alabama, and she read the book and she had lost her job. She was a teacher for 30 years, but her class became increasingly Hispanic and she didn't know Spanish. So it got to the point where she could no longer teach because she could not connect with the kids. And so once she read Gar Fish and Long Gravy, she's now on a whole new venture of doing book marketing. She's doing all these new things that have inspired her because of Gar Fish and Long Gravy, Memoirs of Southern Sensibility, to go out and seek a new venue in life.
Did you know you was gonna be changing lives?
I didn't realize that much was going to happen from the book, but it's just been a phenomenal response that I've gotten from people. All the book reviews that I received on Amazon.com have been 5-star, and so people have really taken to the book and they really love the book. And so I'm really glad that my grandmother's wisdom and the love that she had for me that I poured into this book is now actually helping people in their lives.
And that you had enough good sense to listen to grandmama.
That's right.
You know, sometimes grandmama's just talking and nobody's sucking it up. It's not sinking in. Nobody's being that sponge.
Right.
So thank you for being that sponge.
Thank you.
Now I understand you have some events coming on. One today, actually, this afternoon. Tell me a little bit about what you're doing around the city.
Well, I was on the show for Oprah where the 200 men came who have been survivors of childhood sexual abuse.
Right.
So I created an organization called From Prisons to Possibilities, and this for men who are survivors, African American men who are survivors of childhood sexual abuse. So we have a support group that will be taking place, and you can call us because there's a screening process because of the sensitive nature of the topic, and become a part of the group, and it will be on the 19th at 4 o'clock.
Wow, Alexander, that's big.
Right.
Now, seriously, when you go to bed at night and you think about what this has done for you, what do you want it to do for the next person?
For the next person, I wanted to inspire them to their greatness, because so many people are clouded with the roots of illusion. They're clouded with something that someone told them that they were supposed to be instead of being the greatness that they are. And so now it's time to uproot the illusion, to remove what mama told you and daddy told you and what everybody else told you that you were supposed to be, and see that divine seed for yourself.
I love it. Now, what do you want, like who should be reading this? Like, is it too much for a teenager? Or is it, something that we could read throughout the ages, we could hand down to our children? Like, who should be reading Gar Fish and Long Gravy?
I would say if it's a teenager, it should be with parental guidance.
Okay.
But it's for 18 and up. It's for anyone that's going through something and they're ready to overcome it. If you're ready to get out of that bind, if you're ready to overcome that heartache, if you're ready to change, because it only takes a moment of hurt to have a lifetime of pain, but it also takes a moment of forgiveness to have a lifetime of happiness.
Wow. Now, can people email you or go to a website and kind of tell you, thank you so much, this is what this book did for me, just kind of give you a little feedback after they picked it up?
Sure, they can reach me at atdevereux@hotmail.com. That's ATDEVEREUX@hotmail.com. Or they can go to my author site, which is outskirtspress.com/Alexander Devereux.
That is excellent. Is the book available everywhere now on Amazon, and where can we find it?
You can find it at barnesandnobles.com and amazon.com, and it's available at your local bookstores.
I love it. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Before you leave, you will have to sign my copy, please,
yes, I will.
sir. All right. The name of the book, again, is Gar Fish Long Gravy, Memoirs of Southern Sensibility. Now, we've all heard those grandmama stories, and if you haven't heard any, maybe you can listen to Grandma Devereux, and she can tell you a couple. So please take the opportunity to pick up the book, get it for your teens, read it with them, some parental guidance there, and enjoy it this holiday season. Stay tuned for more Focus Atlanta. We'll be right back.
Focus on the ATL.